Dear Emery, I'm shooting these videos, sweetheart, so that I can build a legacy through you and share my wisdom and the knowledge that I have learned myself as a husband, as a father, as a entrepreneur, as a sports coach, and as a man who has lived on this planet now for 50 plus years. I want to hand that wisdom. I want to take my wins, my losses, my shortcuts, my distinctions, and I want to hand them to you. And one of the ways that I want to do that is through these videos. And I hope you find value in these when you eventually watch them in the next 5 years, 10 years. I hope you'll look back and find wisdom and knowledge that can help serve you and help you build the world of your dreams. I have no doubt that that's exactly what will happen. Interesting story. When I'm out here walking in the early mornings in Naples, I walk in this neighborhood, which is a gated community where we live. And I also, some mornings, take the time to walk in some of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Naples. Some of these neighborhoods have some of the wealthiest people in America. There's actually plenty of celebrity names. You go down by the water and you've got, homes there from the late great Mary Kay and NFL Hall of Famer Mike Shula, the late Mike Ditka and the late Don Shula. John Bon Jovi has a beautiful home and an incredible yacht. You have the family from Anheuser-Busch, who has the huge yacht out front that has the name Built by Beer. This massive yacht, Built by Beer, it's called. So there's no end to the wealth and the abundance in this area of the USA. But what I learned and relearn by walking out here in the morning in these different communities is that you never, ever see anybody, the owners, out working on their properties. You never, ever see any of these ultra wealthy people out mowing their lawns. You never, ever see any of these ultra wealthy homeowners cleaning their pools, ever. And the reason I know it's not them, because you walk through here and you see all day, every day, grass cutting, blowing this, trimming that, cleaning the pools. It's just a beehive of activity every day, but you can tell it's never the owners, because you have the landscaping and lawns maintenance and pool maintenance trucks out front. So it's a reminder that these ultra wealthy people have learned one of the greatest secrets that a person can ever learn in life, sweetheart, and that is they've learned to delegate. They've learned to delegate any and all activities that do not matter. I'm going to say that again. They have learned to delegate any and all activities that do not matter. Activities that do not matter in the end at all. So delegation is an interesting thing because it's a process. Delegation is a process, and I understand this because I went through this myself in my career, and the biggest time, the time that I started to delegate and transform how much money I was making was when I was working at McLean Insurance with Grandpa. And when I first started working there, the first year I worked for Grandpa, I learned the business from the front door to the back door. There wasn't anything I didn't do. I answered the phones, I processed paper, I scanned paper, I answered emails, I cleaned the bathrooms, I vacuumed the carpet, I did a little bit of service work, all that kind of stuff when I was working on getting my insurance license. So it was in the second year when I bought the agency from Grandpa that I said to myself, okay, I've been developing my marketing skills and ability. I've been working very, very hard, reading every book I could on copywriting, reading and studying the greats, the Dan Kennedys, the Gary Halberts, any John Carltons, anybody and everybody who was a direct response marketer. And I would study for an hour a day to develop my skills. So I was, marketing, advertising, and promotion and copywriting is a passion of mine. I have an obsession for it. So it wasn't difficult to study an hour a day because it was something that I absolutely loved. So once I started owning the insurance business, and I had used my marketing and advertising skills in the hockey business, to sell season tickets, to take my hockey franchise from, the outhouse to the penthouse in terms of game attendance, corporate sponsorship, season tickets. So I knew what I had learned from the great masters in terms of marketing was going to work in the insurance business. So as soon as my dad handed me the keys to the business and I started paying for it over the next decade, I wanted to really increase profits and sales. So I had to delegate to make that happen. So I went from doing $10 an hour work, answering phones. I was actually even shredding paper, filing, scanning, answering, doing, billings, things like that. General service work, unlicensed work. So, my dad calls it $10 an hour work. And then as soon as I became owner, I said, okay, I'm not going to be able to pay for this agency over the next 10 years. I'm not going to be able to pay my dad $30,000 a month or barely if I don't grow this business. So I decided right then and there to stop doing anything and everything that did not matter. If it didn't bring profit to the bottom line, I always ask the question, where's the profit in this? So every activity, I drew a circle on a piece of white paper. And this is a great, great exercise for you. It was a game changer for me in my life and my business. I drew a big circle on a white piece of paper, and then I put it into pie shapes. So I drew a big circle, and then I cut the circle into different pie shapes. And then I sat back and I visualized my entire typical day. So what do I do first thing in the morning? What do I do second thing in the morning? What do I do third thing in the morning? All the way till I put my head down on my pillow at night. What are the things that I'm doing all day, every day? And I literally broke my day into 15 minutes segments and wrote down what it was. So for the first hour of the day, the first segment of the day, I wrote down road work. I walk for an hour. And then for the second thing, I'd put, after that, I'd put reading. And then for the third thing, I'd put copywriting, Operation Money Suck. And then I would put, I put all the details down. I put down, lunch, dinner, all of those different things. Good morning. There was everything and anything I put on there, what I was doing at work and what I was doing in my personal life. So at the end, I had this circle, and I had about, 35 to 50 activities that I did during the day. Put out the trash, go to the grocery store, pick up my dry cleaning, all this kind of stuff. Coach hockey, make dinner, make lunch, all and everything and anything I did. And then I took a pencil and I shaded every single piece of the pie, the big circle. I shaded every piece of the pie of things that somebody else could do cheaper and better than me. That was the first thing. I asked myself, okay, all the things on this circle, what is every activity, personal and business, that another person, if I hire them, can do this cheaper and better? So I shaded in things like mowing the grass, cleaning the pool, picking up my dry cleaning, printing the newsletters, all this kind of stuff. And when I did that, I had about, 2/3 maybe to half of all the things were shaded. So I was able to delegate at least 50%, maybe 65% of all the activities that somebody else could do cheaper for $10 an hour, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, and also do them better than me. Now here's the really big badass pro tip. That's where most people stop. And then they have, good productivity, but they don't have outstanding delegation and productivity. So here's the secret I was taught. Now take another shade of pencil. I took another shade of pencil and I shaded in any of the activities that I could do and I was good at doing, but I wasn't necessarily the best person for doing them. So what I mean by that is, even when it came to it, sure, I was good at it. Sure, it was high-end activity. It was more than $10, $15 an hour work, but it still didn't mean that I should be doing it. I didn't have the bandwidth. I wouldn't have the time. I wouldn't be able to be done work at a good time. I wouldn't have the life and the freedom and the personal sovereignty I wanted. So even though I enjoyed it, or even though I was good at it, or even though I could do that, these were things that still would have put the time handcuffs on me. They would have affected my life, my mental health. They would have, put me into the workaholic zone. So those things I scratched out, I shaded out as well. And what this left me with was only the things, the vital few things that mattered in my personal life, and the vital few things that mattered in my business. The vital few, not 10, not 15, 3 things, 4 things, 5 things tops. Chumps have lists, and badass millionaires, they just have the vital few activities that they're passionate about, they're obsessed about, and that they're good at, and that bring in the money. Where's the profit in these things? And there's probably 2 or 3 things you'll do that bring you all the money. I call it, people refer to the 80-20 rule. I call this the 95-5 rule. The 95-5 rule, where the 5% of the things left in that circle, the 5%, the 3 or 4 activities bring 95% of the results in my business and my life. Those tiny 5% of things bring 95% of the winning in my world. And the other 95% that are shaded out, okay, those only bring 5% of the bottom line results I'm looking for. So I call it the 95-5 circle. And that simple process, if you can sit down with a pen, with a couple of pencils and do the 95-5 circle, it will change your life. And I think every man watching these videos should do it on an annual basis. I do. Because things will slip into your life that you end up doing that you should never, ever, ever be touching. We need to constantly be delegating and delegating even more. And activities that don't belong in our worlds will creep in during the year. And this is a great activity to do at the first of the year. Do it, do the pie shapes, put every activity in there that you do. Just think about your day. So what are the things that matter to me? What are my 5% of the activities that move the needle? What are my vital few activities that bring me the most money, bring me the most joy, bring me the most happiness? What are those vital few 5% activities in my world? Well, number one, road work, what I'm doing right now. Nobody on earth can do what I'm doing right now. I'm responsible 100%, sweetheart, for my health. Not a doctor, not a chiropractor, not a physiotherapist, not a nutritionist. At the end of the day, you are responsible for your health. You're responsible for your energy, your vitality, your nutrition, your strength training, and yes, your road work. So nobody can give me what I'm doing for myself right now. Road work is the number one thing because health is my number one wealth. We talked about this in video number 1. Without health, it doesn't matter how much time you have. Without health, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Without health, it doesn't matter how many friends and family you have. If you don't have vitality and energy and you don't have good health, nothing else matters. So this is number one thing that I can't delegate. Nobody's going to come out here and pound the pavement and make me, fit and make me have energy and eat the right foods. So I'm responsible for my good health. I'm responsible for putting in the 15,000 steps. And what did I say road work will do for you? Road work will do so many things for you, not just physically, also mentally, also emotionally, also spiritually. Road work is like a complete package where it'll make you feel better physically, better mentally, better emotionally, better, period. You're out in fresh air, you're out in nature, you're out here, moving your body. So that is something that can't be delegated. Secondly, I looked at what I do, number 2, when I get up in the morning. After I do my walk, I drink some more water. I drive you to school on those days. That's something that I'm going to do every day. I'm going to drive you to school every day. That's our time together in the morning. And I'm going to pick you up at night. I'm not willing to sacrifice that one-on-one time with you. I've been doing that since you were 2.5, driving you to school every morning and picking you up every afternoon. So for me to be able to do that, I need to delegate the unimportant. I need to constantly be curating and swift sorting and delegating the unimportant. So that's what I continue to do. So second thing, big item that I do is I copyright. I write for 1 hour a day minimum. Can anybody else do that for you? Absolutely not. You need to be, if you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're going into business, you need to copyright and work on your marketing for 60 minutes per day. That's a discipline that will change your entire life. You will never want for money. You will never want for revenue. You can work anywhere in the world, but every day you sit down and you write for money. You could be writing an email. You could be writing a newsletter. You could be writing a book. You could be writing a social media post, God forbid. You could be writing a sales letter, a website sales letter. Whatever it is, you sit down every day in solitude and you write for an hour. You know what that is? That's like $500 an hour work, minimum. If you're no good, if you're lousy at writing, that's $500 per hour. I call the road work, my road work is $1,000. Like, I put an hour in here, are you kidding me? That's like $5,000 per hour work. What road work does for me mentally and physically and emotionally and spiritually, man, I can't even put a price on that, but let's say $5,000. Can't delegate that. And then secondly, here, the copywriting is critical because that's going to move everything. Good morning. That is critical for bringing in writing for money every single day. What's the third thing I do during the day in the morning? I sit down and I read for an hour. Again, that's something that nobody else can do for me. I can't have Leanne or Marc-Andre sit down and have a coffee and read. That's up to me. That's my responsibility as a coach and consultant. That's my responsibility as an entrepreneur. That's my responsibility as a newsletter writer, as a mastermind facilitator, as a public speaker, as a coach, as a husband, as a father. That's my responsibility to be a voracious reader like you are and be constantly learning every single day, to be working on my knowledge and my wisdom every single day, reading books, reading newsletters, listening to podcasts, sharpening the saw, sharpening the axe every day. So there's a third activity that cannot be delegated. Once again, I call that's like $5,000 an hour work. $5,000 an hour work. I sit there and write out those white index recipe cards, and I share those ideas in my telegrams. I share those ideas in my book. I share those ideas on webinars. I share those ideas with my elite mastermind members. That is work that I can never delegate, and that is work that is high-end activity. So there's three things right off the bat that I need to do. So then, after that, I take a break and drink my protein shake, and then I'll go and do some body weight exercises up at the gym just before lunch. I'll do some Hindu squats, some Hindu push-ups. I'll do some light weight training, some stretching. Is that something that somebody else can do for me? Absolutely not. Health is my number one wealth. So I'm already to lunch, and my schedule is full of things that only I can do. So if I didn't delegate all the details, if I didn't delegate all of the service work in my business, if I didn't delegate all the errand running and all the technology that Leanne and Mark, as an example, I wouldn't get to the vital few things. What have been my vital few things so far in the day? The vital few things are road work, sharpening the saw, and Operation Money Suck. Those are the vital few things. And then in the afternoon, once I've won my morning, once I've conquered that first 4 or 5 hours of the day, I turn on my phone, I jump on my laptop, and I conquer the chaos of the afternoon. And again, I don't want to touch anything that I don't have to touch. So there's a handful of emails that I'll batch, and I'll respond all at one time. I'll set the kitchen timer, and I'll do emails for 20 minutes. And then there's maybe a handful of phone calls that only I can return. So I'll return all those phone calls in half an hour. I'll batch them together, and I'll never stop. I'll do boom, 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 walking outside, returning those phone calls. Maybe I have to appear on a podcast. That's something that is growing the business. That's something that only I can do. And then by mid-afternoon, 2:30, 3 o'clock, it's time to pick you up at school. My day is done. My day is done. So I've done the vital few things that not only bring in the money for our business, but the vital few things that I have passion for, but also I have the bandwidth for. I don't have 12 hours. I don't have 10 hours. I don't even have 8 hours. If I want to pick you up every day at school, I have 5 solid hours of undisturbed solitude work. And you know what? Truth be told, and no consultant even will ever tell you about this, but your father will, there's not a person on earth that has more than 3 to 5 hours of focused work in them per day. You know what? They say the top CEOs in Canada and the United States have less than 1 hour, have less than 1 hour of pure productivity per day. Those guys are like everybody else. They're running around like chickens with their heads cut off. That's why their companies are failing and flailing. They don't have any boundaries. They don't have any time management rules and standards. So they're running around like everybody else, working on the urgent and not the important. And that's what this all comes down to, sweetheart. You have, Emery, you have to decide in your life what's important to you. That's the word, important. And you have to decide what's urgent. And you have to decide, okay, I'm going to make a decision here to always work on the important, not on the urgent. There's urgent things that you have to take care of, but every day you need to stick to that schedule of working on the important. The important things become your vital few. Those become your 2, 3, or 4 things that you do every day that move the needle, that bring in the bacon, that bring you the money. Their money activities, their physical health activities, their mental health activities, their wisdom activities, and deciding that, you know what, these are non-negotiable activities that only I can do. And then you need to, young lady, set the standards and set the boundaries that these things are non-negotiable. Nobody screws around with my road work. Nobody screws around with Operation Money Suck in my world. Nobody screws around with your dad's sharpening the axe reading time. I don't make dentist appointments. I don't make doctor's appointments. I don't make phone calls. I don't do any client work. I don't have any masterminds during that time. 0 zip. I don't do anything until 11 a.m. The first 3 to 4 to 5 hours of every morning belong to me. And you need to set those same things. In the afternoon, when you're not at your best, most of us have a mental lull after lunch. That's where you want to do what I call your maintenance work. Go to the dentist then. Go get your hair cut then. Return your phone calls then. Return your text messages then. Do any service work you have to do then. Do any paperwork you have to do then. Low maintenance activities in the afternoon. But you need to claim your mornings. You need to own your mornings. And you need to say to yourself, these are the vital few things that mean the most to me. Nobody else in the world can do these as well as I can. And these are, $1,000 activities, $5,000 activities that are non-negotiable. These are non-negotiable. They're going to happen every single day, and they're standards that you have that are never, ever, ever, ever going to be compromised. So that's it from Naples. That's what I was thinking about the other day when I was walking around and I saw all these incredible, incredible homes. Oh, by the way, just to debunk the thinking of the socialist mentality or the anti-America or anti-Canadian mentality, the anti-capitalism mentality, the anti-self-reliance mentality. You know what? I wish I was in the garbage and trash business. I have a friend who is in the trash business, the recycling business, and he painted all his trucks 10 years ago into this green. Everything happens for a reason, right? So he also has trucks like this in Canada, and they're painted green, and then they run on, I don't know what they run on, some green gas or something he's always talking about. But good morning. He's talking about, and they run like that. They don't run on gasoline. They run on something else. I don't know what it is. I don't care. And he billed $55 million last year picking up garbage in our small community in Canada. $55 million. I asked him, I said, how much did you bill last year with your trucks? $55 million picking up newspapers, bottles, plastics, and then the other day picking up regular trash and garbage. And I said to him one day, I said a couple years ago, I said, so where does all our recycling go? You got us like robots where we got to put this can here and this bottle here and this piece of paper here. We got 5 containers for our garbage, and and he just rolled his eyes. He said, Michael, you don't want to know where that stuff goes. So I'm not sure if it all goes together or if it goes separately or whatever happens, but oh boy, scam of the century. Scam of the century. So I would have liked to have been part of that trash business, but I missed out on that one. It's like the water business. Tony Robbins said 25, 30 years ago at Mastery in Hawaii. He said, if the one business you want to get into, he said, get into the water business. This is 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Everybody was looking, they're like, water? The hell with, there was no such thing as bottled water. There was no such thing as everybody drank out of their tap. And Tony said, oh, no. He said, it's going to be the gold of the future. And Robbins was not. Good morning. Robbins was not. He was not wrong on that one. It definitely gold of the future. So that's it for today. I hope you take this to heart, sweetie. It's the only way to have personal sovereignty and freedom in your life is to become a master delegator. Ask yourself, do that exercise. Good morning. Do that exercise and see, what can you delegate, number one, that somebody else can do better than you, but also less expensive. And then also, there's things that you are good at that doesn't mean you should be doing them, that somebody can do them better or cheaper. And a good example of that is I hired Doberman Dan, one of the world's top copywriters. He was trained by the great late Gary Halbert. And Doberman is going to be working with Leanne and Marc-Andre and I writing copy for our a new book funnel offline. And Doberman is, I'm a copywriter and I enjoy doing that. But it's something that we've bought now time by hiring his expertise. So it's about a bandwidth thing sometime. I don't have the time. Marc-Andre doesn't have the time. Leanne doesn't have the time. So we hire one of the world's best. He's going to write copy for some direct response ads. He's going to create an advertorial. He's going to write some sales copy on our sales page, on our video page. And Dan is going to save us, days and weeks of time. I've hired him for the next 2 months. And that's a situation where I'm delegating to one of the best in the world. I can write copy. I consider myself a top world copywriter, but that's not, I'm full. My plate is full. So what do you do in those situations? Hire the best you can afford to help you. The best that you can afford to help you. And that's what we've done with Doberman Dan. And everything, money loves speed, right? Money loves speed. So the faster we can design this funnel, the faster we can write those ads, the faster we can write the copy, the better it'll be for our business. So that's it. The ultra wealthy delegate. They're master delegators. Make sure, Emery, you are a master delegator. If you don't have a copy of my book, what are you waiting for? Wise up. Wise up and get a copy at nobullbook.com. I'll send you one of my black #badass t-shirts as a free gift. nobullbook.com. If you want to take it all to the next level, join my new World Builders Mastermind. You can jump in anytime, but the deadline for this month is tomorrow. badassworldbuilders.com. Your seat is waiting for you in the Brotherhood. It's 12 months, 1 year, 100% online. We meet every second Wednesday for 2 hours, and everybody gets a one-on-one hot seat during the year. It is next level. If you're tired of living a life of quiet desperation, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, as a father, as a husband, as an entrepreneur, for God's sakes, go there and apply now and grab your seat for the new year. That's badassworldbuilders.com. Fill it out. We'll get on the phone. We'll talk about it. Either way is good with me, but at least take the action to become a better husband, better father, better entrepreneur. Take the action, for God's sakes, this year to finally become a hero in your own home. Join me on that journey, badassworldbuilders.com. As I said to you last night, Emery, I'm proud to be your father, and I thank you for being such an incredible kid. I watch you amongst other children, your manners, your etiquette, the smile on your face, the 3 things that I've been saying to you since you were 2.5. Every single morning I drop you off at school. I say, what are your 3 goals? And you always repeat them back to me since age 2.5. Work hard, have fun, be a leader, Daddy. Work hard, have fun, be a leader, Daddy. Man, if that isn't a blueprint for success in world building as well, I don't know what is. Your dad loves you, and I will, God willing, I'll be out here speaking to you tomorrow. Look at that amazing sunrise behind us. Emery, life is a gift. Life is a gift. Live with an attitude of gratitude. 2 words that changed my life. 2 words that'll change your life, young lady. Be relentless.